Heidi, by Joanna Speary. Chapter 1. Going Up to the Almunkel.
The little village of Mayenfeld is beautiful. From it a path goes through green areas to the foot of the mountain. At the beginning of the path up the mountain, you can feel the soft air. One beautiful morning in June, a tall, strong girl from the mountain walked up the path with a little girl. The little girl was 5 years old, and her face was red from the hot day. She wore many clothes around her body and big boots on her feet. After they walked for about an hour, they arrived at a little village on the mountain. The village was called the Little Village. This was the big girl's home, and people from many houses called to her, but she walked on and only stopped at the end of the village. There, a woman called to her from the door. "Detta, please wait. I am coming with you, if you are going up." When the girl stopped, the child let go of her hand and sat down. "Are you tired, Heidi?" Detta asked the child. "No, but I'm hot," she said. "We will be up in an hour, if you walk fast and try hard," Detta said to help her little friend. A big, nice woman came out of the house and joined them. The child got up and walked behind the two women, who began to talk about people in the village. "Where are you taking the child, Detta?" asked the woman. "Is she your sister's child?" "Yes," Detta said. "I am taking her up to her grandfather, and I want her to stay there." "You can't mean to take her there, Detta. You must be crazy to go to him. I am sure the old man will not let you in, and won't listen to you." "Why not? He is her grandfather, and it is time he helps with the child. I have taken care of her until now, and I have a good job. The child will not stop me from taking it. It would not be hard if he was like other people, but you know him. How could he look after a child, especially such a little one? She'll never be happy with him, I am sure. I am going to a great house in Frankfurt. Last summer some people went to a holiday place, and I took care of their rooms. They liked me, and they wanted to take me with them. But I could not leave. Now they are back, and want me to go. I am happy I am not the child," said Barbara. "Nobody knows about the old man's life up there. He never talks to anyone. People move away when he comes down here once a year. We are all afraid of him. And he is like an old man from another country, with grey eyes and a big beard." "That is not my problem," said Detta. "He won't hurt her, and if he does, it is his problem, not mine. I want to know what is wrong with the old man. Why are his eyes so angry, and why does he live up there all alone? Nobody ever sees him, and we hear many strange things about him. Didn't your sister tell you anything, Detta?" "Of course she did, but I will not say anything. He would make me pay if I did." Barbara wanted to know about the old uncle, and why he lived alone. Nobody said good things about him, and people are afraid to talk about him. She did not know why he was called the Alm Uncle. He could not be the uncle of all the people in the village, but because everybody called him that, she did the same. Barbara, who had only lived in the village since she married, was happy to get information from her friend. Detta had lived there, but since her mother died, she had gone away to work. She took Data's arm and said, "I wish you would tell me the truth about him, Data. You know it all. Tell me, what happened to the old man to make everybody be afraid of him? Did he always hate people? If you promise not to tell all the people in Prettingen, I can tell you many things." "How can you say that, Detta?" said Barbara. "People do not talk much in Prettingen, and I can keep things to myself. You won't feel bad about telling me." "All right, but remember your word," said Data. Then she looked around to see that the child was not close enough to hear what they said, but the little girl was not there. Data looked around everywhere, but no one was on the path. "There she is! Can't you see her?" said Barbara. "She is climbing up with Peter and his goats. I wonder why he is so late today. It is good for us. He can look after the child while you tell me everything." "It will be easy for Peter to watch her," said Detta. "She is intelligent for her age and keeps her eyes open. I am happy for her, because it will help her with the uncle. He has nothing left in the world, only his house and 2 goats. "Did he once have more?" asked Barbara. "Yes, he had a big farm in Domsley, but he lost everything. His parents died with sadness, and he went away from here. After many years he came back with a boy, his son, Tobias.
Tobias became a worker and was a quiet, good man. Many strange stories went around about the uncle, and I think that was why he left Domleshig for Dorfli. We called him Uncle because we are family, my mother's grandmother being a cousin of his. He was named Elm Uncle when he moved up to the Elm. But what happened to Tobias? Asked Barbara.
Just wait. Tobias was learning to work in mills, and when he became a worker, he came home to the village and married my sister Adelheid. They always had liked each other, and they lived very happily together. But their happiness was short. 2 years later, when Tobias was helping to build a house, something fell on him and killed him. Adelaide became very sick with sadness and never got better. She had never been strong and died a few weeks later. People said that the uncle was being punished for the bad things he did. After the death of his son, he never spoke to anyone and moved up to the Alp to live there away from God and people. My mother and I took Adelheid's little 1-year-old baby, Heidi, to live with us. When I went to Raggetts, I took her with me. But this year the family I worked for came from Frankfurt and wanted to take me to their house in the city. I am very happy to get such a good job. And now you want to give the child to this terrible old man. I really don't know how you can do it, Detta, said Barbara. I have really done enough for the child. I do not know where else to take her, as she is too young to come with me to Frankfurt. By the way, Barbara, where are you going? We are halfway up the AL already. Data said goodbye to her friend and stood still while Barbara walked to the small mountain house.
Here lived Peter, a boy 11 years old, who every day took the goats from the village and drove them up the mountain. Peter ran down in the evening with the fast little goats. When he made a loud sound with his mouth, every small boy and girl would come and get his or her goat. That was the only time Peter spent with other children. The rest of the day, the animals were his only friends. At home lived his mother and an old grandmother. But he only spent enough time in the house to eat his bread and milk for breakfast, and the same food for dinner. After that he went to bed to sleep. He always left early in the morning, and at night he came home late, so that he could be with his friends as long as possible. The children were going up in a way that went from side to side. Peter always knowing where to find all sorts of good places for his goats, where they could eat. The poor little girl was so hot, and not comfortable, that she only climbed by using all her strength. She did not say anything, but looked at Peter, who jumped about in his light trousers and without shoes. She also looked at the goats, that climbed with their small legs. Heidi sat down on the ground, took off her shoes, took off the heavy shawl, and the 2 little dresses.
Then she stood up in only a light dress. She was more comfortable now, and put her dresses in a nice little group, and joined Peter and the goats. She was now as fast as any of them. When Peter saw her in her light clothes, he smiled. Looking back, he saw the little group of dresses on the ground, and then he smiled even more, but he said nothing. The child, feeling free and happy, started to talk with Peter, and he had to answer many questions. She asked him how many goats he had, and where he took them, what he did with them when he got there, and more. At last the children reached the top in front of the house. When Data saw them, she called out, "Heidi, what have you done? How you look! Where are your dresses and your shawl? Where are the new shoes that I just bought for you, and the new socks that I made myself? Where are they all, Heidi?" The child looked down and said, "There." "Bad child," Dita said. "What does all this mean? Why have you taken all your things off?" "Because I do not need them," said the child, not feeling bad about what she did. "How can you be so stupid, Heidi? Have you lost your mind? Who do you think will go way down there to get those things up again? It is a half an hour's walk. Please, Peter, run down and get them. Do not stand and look at me, as if you could not move." "I am late already," said Peter, and stood without moving from the place, where, with his hands in his pockets, he had watched Heidi's aunt become angry. "There you are, standing and looking, but that won't help you," said Detta. "I'll give you this coin if you go down." That made Peter start, and in a great hurry he ran down the path. He came back again, in so short a time, that Data had to say he did well and gave him her little coin right away. He did not often get such money, and so his face was happy, and he put the money into his pocket. If you are going up to the uncle, as we are, you can carry the things until we get there, said Detta. They still had to climb a path that was behind Peter's house. The boy took the things and followed Detta. Heidi walked happily by his side with the goats. After about an hour, they reached the house of the old man. From there, you could look far down into the valley. The uncle had made himself a seat by the side of the house. Here he sat, with his pipe and both hands on his knees. He watched the children climbing up with the goats, and Aunt Detta behind them, because the children had walked faster than her. Heidi reached the top first, and going to the old man, she held out her hand to him and said, "Good evening, grandfather." "Well, well, what does that mean?" said the old man. Giving her his hand for only a moment, he watched her with a long look. Heidi looked back at him with much interest, because he was strange to look at, with his thick, grey beard and big eyebrows.
Heidi's aunt had arrived by now with Peter, who wanted to see what was going to happen. "Good day to you, uncle," said Detta as she came near. "This is Tobias's and Adelaide's child. You won't be able to remember her, because last time you saw her she was only 1 year old. Why do you bring her here?" asked the uncle, and turning to Peter he said, "Go away and bring my goats. How late you are already." Peter did what he was told, and went away fast. "Uncle, I have brought the little girl for you to keep," said Detta. "I have done my part these last 4 years, and now it is your turn to help her." The old man's eyes became angry. "Really," he said, "what shall I do when she begins to cry for you? Small children always do, and then I'll be lost." "You'll have to find out," Detta said. "When the little baby was left in my hands a few years ago, I had to find out how to care for the little child myself, and nobody told me anything. I already had mother on my hands, and there was a lot for me to do. You can't say I am bad if I want to get some money now. If you can't keep the child, you can do with her whatever you want." Detta had said more than she had wanted to, just because she did not feel right about what she was doing. The uncle stood up and said to her, "Go, go, stay wherever you came from and don't come again into my sight." Detta did not need to be told again. She said goodbye to Heidi and goodbye to the uncle, and went down the mountain. The people in the village called to her now more than when she had walked up, because they all were interested in where she had left the child. They knew both of them and knew their story. When she heard from doors and windows, "Where is the child? Where have you left her, Detta?" and more, she answered less and less. "Up with the arm, uncle, with the arm, uncle." She became very angry because the women called to her from every side. "How could you do it? The poor little child! How could you leave such a small child up there?" And over again, "The poor little dear." Detta ran as fast as she could, and was happy when she heard no more calls, because, to tell the truth, she was not happy about what she did. Her mother had asked her before she died to care for Heidi, but she thought that she would do more for the child if she could get some money. She was very happy to go away from people who said things about what she did, and looked forward with great happiness to her new job.